God speaks to us and he guides us through circumstances. God guides us through circumstances, situations. Circumstances are not designed, watch this, and I need you to really hear this. Circumstances are not designed to determine our decision. They are to confirm our decision. A lot of people say, well, if it happens, it happens. That must be God. Well, this door, oh, that's mine. It must be God. Circumstances are not there to determine a decision. They are there to confirm a decision. What does that mean? That means that when you are about to make a decision, you need to go to God in prayer. He needs to put something in your heart, and then the circumstance comes along and confirms it. But it doesn't decide it for you. In other words, there should be an inner witness first, and then the circumstance comes along and it confirms it. Many times we allow the circumstances to make the decision for us, and that's wrong. Don't allow any circumstance to help you to make a decision. Well, you know, Pastor, I was out the other day, and I was minding my own business, and I was walking down the street, and I happened to pass this car dealership, and guess what? They were having a sale. I bought a car. Is that how you make decisions? Because the circumstance was they were having a sale? No. You don't do that. Well, why would you do it with spiritual things? Or why would you do it with other areas of your life? Just because a door is open doesn't mean that that door is the will of God for your life. Let me add something to that. Just because you have a good experience doesn't mean that that's God's will for your life. Woo! But Pastor, it was good. So, what did God say? Yeah, but it was nice. So, but it was good. So, does that mean that every good experience is God and every bad experience is not God? No. Because how many of you have had bad experiences that were God? I have. I've had some bad experiences only to learn later on, oh, but God. If God didn't put me through that bad experience, it wouldn't have made me do this. It wouldn't have had me be here, and it wouldn't have got me to where I am right now. But I had to go through a bad experience to get there. Let me give you an example while Ricky's going to come up and close us, because I'm closing. You remember the life of Moses. How many remember my man Moses? God chosen him to lead the Israelites out of Egypt, out of slavery. And when Moses went to Pharaoh and he asked him to let my people go, Pharaoh actually made it harder for the Israelites. I don't know if you remember the story, but what Pharaoh said, Moses went and says, let my people go. And Pharaoh said, let your people go. He says, I'm not going to let them go, but I tell you what I will do. They're going to keep making these bricks, and they're going to make these bricks without straw now. You've been bugging me, no more straw. So Pharaoh went out to all his slave workers and said, don't give them straw anymore. Don't provide any more straw for the Israelites. Let them go gather their own straw. And while they're gathering their own straw, they better not make one brick less than they did before. So now it's the extra burden on the Israelites. Now they've got to do 2 jobs and provide the same amount of brick as they did doing 1 job before. Impossible. And if you remember the story, Moses went back to God and he said, Lord, is this what you brought me here for? You brought me here. I done messed things up. I done went to Pharaoh. Look what he did. Look at what happened. Now they've got to make bricks without straw. Now they're really hurting. They can't keep up with all the brick. Lord, why did you do this? Why did you do this to me? Why did you use me in this capacity? Why did you send me? You see, the circumstances were weighing very heavy on Moses. But what he didn't understand the plan of God. I'll read it for you, and this will be our last verse this morning. In Exodus chapter 7, look what it says, beginning at verse 1. Then the Lord said to Moses, see, I have made you like God to Pharaoh, and your brother Aaron will be your prophet. You ought to say everything I command you, and your brother Aaron is to tell Pharaoh to let the Israelites go out of the country. But I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and though I multiply my signs and wonders in Egypt, he will not listen to you. Then I will lay my hand on Egypt, and with mighty acts of judgment I will bring out my divisions, my people, the Israelites. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord when I stretch out my hand against Egypt and bring the Israelites out of it. Watch this. We're done. We're done. We're closing. This is so powerful. Here was a bad situation. For those of you that said, God, Pastor, if it's good, it must be God. And if it's bad, it must be the devil. Wrong answer. Because right here, Moses had a bad situation. He had a bad situation of the Israelites being in slavery, and he even made it worse. Because Pharaoh said, no more straw. But what God was telling Moses, that he had to make the circumstances bad in order for God to come out with his will in the end. What was his will? Somebody said, Pastor, what was his will? Look at verse 5 again. And the Egyptians will know that I am the Lord. Ha! That's the will of God. That God said, I'm going to do this thing so that you will know that you know that you know. When I put my hand on my children, you'll know that's God. How many of you ever had a situation that nobody could fix, but when everybody looked at it, they said, that had to be God. That had to be God. That had to be God. You were in a bad situation. You were not only lacking a job, you were homeless, you were sleeping in your car, you didn't even have gas to drive it, and all of a sudden, you living in Wiley in a $400,000 house. That had to be God, yeah. And God will allow negative circumstances so that his perfect will shine through. He wants everybody to know that it wasn't you, and it wasn't me, but it was the will of God. Amen?